So thank you for coming back. What we're going to do is we're going to build it out so that we can add paths for WebSocket and TCP socket. So what I'm talking about is if I look at the app here and we look at our main page for streams, you can see it's a nice looking table here, except for our TCP and WebSockets currently don't have anything. So we need to display. What I'm thinking is that because there's only one server per TCP and WebSocket mod, we don't have interconnections between those at this time. But I could do that. So I think all I want to do right now is when these ones get created, outbound and inbound WebSocket routes, we want to make sure that we include a server. So if I look at my backend here, under my services, where we are creating my route, we're adding it here, and I want to say if my route dot, if my entity dot now hold on a second, because we need to have a path on that for if it's a bot user, like that. So if I look at my request, we have a bot ID. So I could do a var bot equals await context dot bots dot first or default asynchronous, where my s.id is equal to that ID. And we want to include here my user and my user.provider. So if my bot does not equal to null, and my bot.user.provider type is equal to provider type.tcp, or bot.user.provider.provider type is equal to provider type.websocket. Then what I want to do is my entity.paths add, and you don't want to do it for that one. It's a path stream, right? Path server. Let's do it as a path server here, equals new path server, where my path type is equal to path server. My route ID is equal to entity.id. My server ID is equal to my bot.user.server.id. And And then I want to do a context.pathservers.add my path server. So now when I run this, I'm going to delete those two routes and add them again. And one thing I wanted to look up is, can I do groups with a drop down in Angular material? Do any of these have groupings? Yeah, this one does. Right here, MD opt group. Okay. I'll just pull this over to this other one so it doesn't close. Same thing with this one. Okay. So we'll log in. We'll go under streams. I'm going to remove this WebSocket path. This TCP path. Cool. They all sort correctly. So now if I was to add a inbound TCP and I create it, it says it created successfully. Here it is. It hasn't rendered, so let's go ahead and get our component here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to do an ng generate component called shared dash paths. And we want to say that this one is a Discord add, right? But it's an inbound, paths, Discord, inbound. And we want to do that in module app. The next one is Discord outbound. The next one here is just Twitch. And then I want to add one in here for TCP. So under paths channels, I'm going to open up this HTML and I'm going to copy that into paths Discord inbound, which goes here. And then we want to get my CSS, my code for this, which is here. And we want to do a on destroy, and then I want to do a this stuff here at the top. Okay. Path Discord outbound is this one. So I can select everything, bring it in here, grab my TS here. Bring it in here. Add the on destroy. And then we want to get the stuff here from the top and bring it in. Okay. We can get rid of this one. The next one here was called paths twitch. So we can grab this HTML and bring it in. Same thing with this stuff. I can implement my onDestroy. And then I can bring in the top pieces here, the namespaces. Get rid of paginator and toaster service. Okay. So now when I look at my routes, this should be a little bit more straightforward here, where we have a apps, paths, Discord inbound. And then this one is a paths, Discord outbound. This one is a paths Twitch. This one is a TCP. And this is going to be a paths TCP. Let's go ahead and finish this up with the last one here. And I'll add it in right here. Right here. And if this is WebSocket, then we want to have a paths WebSocket. Failed to compile. So if I look at my app module, we got to get rid of this, this, and this. Okay, we'll look at streams. And paths TCP works. This is good. Okay. So on paths TCP, we're going to have something pretty similar to inbound. So let me first grab my code base here, and I'm going to have loading, and it'll have paths on it. I guess I don't really need the loading, do I? We'll think about that for a minute. Okay, we don't need this option box. This is called create path server. And if your paths servers.length is greater than 0, then we're going to have my, I think it's called server name. And then also the remove button, which is called remove path server, which is called remove path server. And then we have the displayed columns. So if I was to get my code base here, and I want to have a loading, which is a Boolean. I know I wanted to have a displayed columns and a mat sort. And we also want to get the route ID, our path channels, So most all of this stuff here onto here. So we'll add the input here, and we don't care about channels. We'll add the view child for the mat sort. This is called server name. We don't care about this one. This is a I path server. And this is remove path server receive subscription. Okay, we need to inject here my web hub, which is a web hub service. I need to have a on destroy. So when I do my ng on destroy here, I can do a this dot remove dot unsubscribe, and then in here we can do a this dot remove is equal to this dot webhub dot get remove path server. And we want to subscribe that as a success, which is a boolean. And I want to do a this dot loading equals false. Looks good. We need to have our two data source functions here. This needs to be called paths servers. Like that. And then we also need to have in here a create path server and a remove path server. No, because you don't create one or remove it. It already exists. So on this one, there is no create path, and there is no remove. Hey there, Jawaka 23. Greetings to the channel. How are you? Greetings, welcome to the channel. And here we go. We have our paths here. And I am not showing a name. So if I look at this data source, it's called server name. We have what's called an iPath server with an iServer name. So let me see what that's returning here. We need to look at my, oh, I know what it is. It's in the this. We need to do a paths servers is equal to my element.paths. My route ID is equal to my element.id. And my, isn't there one more? Not for this one. I'm well. How are you, Wizard? I'm doing great. Thank you. And there it is. Looks like you don't need display name for these two. So what that means is on the TCP, no, it's for both of these inbound and outbound components. We don't have a display name. Oh, it's for Twitch. Sorry. Insect movie Sonic. Insert movie Sonic. Hey, Shade the Ballum. I'm not sure what that means. There's a movie. It's terrifying. I know you aren't making any pixel right now, but what program do you use? Yes, it's coming too. I'm just going to hang on to my dollars. I'm so confused. Are you talking to me, Shade? Okay. That looks good. This is called server name. That's important for the sort. There we go. Okay. We want to, on my routes component, have this thing say remove route. And we want it to say on this one, remove path. Okay. So that looks good. Move path. Okay. The last one is the WebSocket, which is here. So we'll create a route for it. Here it is. So for this one, we can almost just directly copy this and bring it in here. And then also this stuff we can bring in into WebSocket. And then also our top piece here for our namespaces. Looks good. This needs to have on init, on destroy. Hey, Bubby Bite, welcome back. What are you crafting here? It's the front end for the project called Allie.Chat, which is a large-scale large-scale bot that manages different RSS feeds. At the moment, it does Discord, TCP, WebSocket, and Twitch. Oh, we see the scary picture today because of the camera angle. Ooh. So here it is. We want to make sure that it's being invoked correctly here from routes. So I need to pass in my same pieces of data here. And there we go. So that's done, which is nice. So let's move this modal to a modal because it's right now just on the form. So I'll do an ng generate component called shared modals, and I'm going to say that this is going to be a route create modal. That's not going to work because I forgot to do module app. Okay. So in this, on my HTML, I'm going to bring in these two form fields. And this one's going to be called, we're only going to have one in here. And it's just going to say create route. Like that. And then if I look at my routes TS, I need to kind of copy this. So we'll bring this over into my route create component modal. Come on. I'm not asking you to separate it. I would like it over the whole window, please. And we'll do this. And if I look at my confirmation modal component, we're going to say that this is actually this one. We're going to inject here my mat-dialog data. And my data instance isn't going to be this. It's going to be a I route create modal data, which will have a title, a message, an is confirmed, a cancel message, a confirm message. These two are wrong. I'll have a title. It'll have a message. It's going to have a route type, which is a number, and it's going to have a bot ID, which is a string. So this is a I route create modal data. Hey there, Maxi Paxi Taxi, greeting. I like how we've named it the scary picture. Okay. So that looks good. My data instance is now from up here. We want to look at this one, HTML, and I'm going to bring this in because this is a nice dialog box. And I think I have it on a card, right? So we have the title, the message, then here I can have my mat form field. Which is called my data.botID. And then we'll add this down here as a create route. Now hold on, because if I look back at routes, you also need this one. And then we can format that page. So on this, we had routes and route types, which need to get moved. Not routes. That stays. We want route type selected, and we want bots, and we want bots selected. Okay, so in this I need to inject a private global service, which is a global service. And And then in this routes, we need to have my mods received and your I think that's okay. And then in my onDestroy, we want to have this thing here in my constructor. And we need to inject my web hub like that. And then we need to unsubscribe it here. What was this one called? On no click. That's not something that we implement. Like that. And then when you do the submit, which is called create route, we're going to remove this stuff, and I need to do a, glad my stuff's on battery backup. I'm going to do a create route here, which is going to open the modal. So back here, we need to have my toaster service. Like that. We want to pass in here my stream ID, which is a string. And I want to have my private toaster service, which is a toaster service. I think that's it for the modal. When we do my init on routes, I can remove my create request Twitch channels for routing. Just a second. No, that's okay. And this one goes to the other one in ng-init. Now if I look at this, we want to have a route type selected and a bot selected, which are on this data instance. So this is called data.routeType. Same thing with that one, the bot ID. So we can get rid of that and that. And this is my this.data.route selected. Like that. And then like that. And this is this.data.botID. And this is this.data.routeType. And then I want to say your result here is your and I want to return here my request. Yeah, well, how do you do it? How do you prefer to do it then? Okay. I think that that's it for this one. So create route. When we do this, just a second. Good. That's actually fine. Okay, in my module config app module, I need to add this here as a create route create modal component as an entry component. And then if I look for my confirmation modal here, we can use this one as the guide. And where I'm doing my TS here for this create route, I'm going to do this as a I create route modal data, which is called create route, we'll say route create modal data. Maybe try some helpers. I don't really want to import any helpers right now though with this project. I'm just trying to move through it. Are you sure? And we're going to say the title of this one is going to be create route. And it's going to say, the message here is going to say, please select your route type and bot below. We don't have it is confirmed. We do have a route type and a bot ID. Like that. And then we're going to open up my route create modal component here with my route create data. And then if it's done and my result is not undefined, I don't think I care about this, right? Because when it closes, you're going to get your confirmation of the bot, and then you should fire your route create receive subscription. So let's see if it works. We'll check it out. This looks good. We'll create a new one here. Awesome. We could say it's an outbound and a WebSocket, and I should do some sorting and grouping on that. Route cannot be added. So that's okay. So what's going here? What's going on? You need to pass in here your stream ID, which is a string. And this includes a stream ID is this dot stream ID. So on your modal, stream ID is coming from your this.data.streamID. Okay, we'll create a new one here called an outbound Twitch. And it created it. Right here. And then we can remove it. Let me just make sure that if I create another one, I need to have a cancel button. So if I look at this again, I'll have two buttons next to each other, like that. This one will say cancel. And this one will be a one like this. Oh, that's for a mat-dialog closed. I don't care about that. We do want this one to be the initial one with focus. And we want this one to say create route. Okay, so it's not wide enough. Okay, cancel is on the wrong line now. Why don't we move these into that, and then you could do a mat card footer. We could just add this stuff in there. Okay, try it again. That looks better. And then we can create it. Okay? So in my routes TS, not this one, where you close this thing, we want to do a result, and this is going to be a type of what was it called? Create route modal data. And then we're going to do a, if it does not equal to undefined and my result dot bot ID does not equal to undefined and result dot bot ID does not equal to null and my result dot bot ID does not equal to nothing, then we'll set that equal to that. So now I can cancel out. So over here, my cancel needs to be called a, don't you have something in here for a close? Yeah, beautiful. And that looks good. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to look at my drop down Angular material. And I want to get groups. Perfect. Okay, let's look at this. So what they're doing is they are creating these Pokemon group thing, just JSON. And then we have something called a Pokemon control. Form control, okay. I see, they're doing it on the mat option groups. So let me look at this. And I'm going to do a placeholder here, which is equal to bot, select bot. And then the same thing here, which is called select route type. And then for the option group, we're going to say mat opt group for this. My label is going to be my bot dot username. I think it's bot.provider. So let me go ahead and just save this one, and we're going to make a new one called mat opt group. And it's going to be an ng4 is equal to let bot of bots. And I want to do a label equal to my bot.provider. We don't have it disabled on it. And then within this, we're going to have this mat option, which is let bot of bot dot there we go. Let, and this is going to be a group of bot dot username. And my value is bot ID. And I think this is just username dot, I think it's just that now. So if I look at this again, and I do a create, and I look at my bots, it's not taking, it's telling me So we're really close with it. So maybe we could do a let that. So it says that my route type here, if I look at the data set for this, we have this as a full group with an object nested. So my object's wrong. It's got to be a it's not a request bots, it's a it's that you want to group it by provider. So in here, we're running on init request bots. I'm going to do this a different way, where I'm going to have a new function in here called public asynchronous task called request bots for route create. It's going to be almost the same thing. And then what I want to have on here is a new, let's look at this, and I'm going to say that we have a new view model called and I can put this just inside of the web API. So in our models here, we can create one called a bot route create VM. And on this, we want to have a bool here called is disabled. We want to have a provider type called provider type. And we want to have a number of I collection of your bot DTO called bots. So now what you can do is we can do this one. It's a route bot route create VM. So we can remove that. And what I want to do is just have a var VMs equals a new list of this. And then what I want to do here is a for each var bot in bots, I want to do a vms.add a new one of these. But you want to first do if my vms.any. Let's just do a var vm equals vms.first or default s, where my provider type is equal to bot.provider. And we don't want this to be that. We want this to be a string called provider. Then we want to say if VM is equal to null, then we want to do a VM.add is equal to a new bot create route create VM, which is going to have a is disabled is false, provider equals second bot.user.provider, and your bots here, it's going to be equal to a do you have the mapper available here? No, but we can. Second. So we want to add in here my auto mapper. Because down here where we're doing this create VM, oh no, we don't need that because that's already a bot. It's already a DTO, sorry. This is going to be a new list of bot DTO, and in this we're going to just have bot. And this one is disabled should go on. That's good. And then we want to do a vms.add vms.add a VM here. Else what we want to do is we want to then do a vm.bots.add my bot. And then what you're going to do is it's going to be called a receive bots for, and we want to pass in my VMs. Now the other thing that you want to pass in here is your route ID, right? Because you also want to get your route here of my route ID and my application user.id. Oh. And then Just one more second. And then what I want to make sure is we want to pass in here a path type called path type. And I'm actually out of time for right now, so I will be back in a couple of hours, let's say at around 1 o'clock. Let's say 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So thank you guys for staying with me this morning. I very much appreciate the support. We'll be back at today at 1 o'clock p.m. PST. So thanks again, guys. If you have any questions, make sure you pop them into the channel. We got a really active and supportive community at our Discord, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com, and then also that you make sure that you check us out at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. I got all the videos go up there. So thanks again for the support, and I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.